All right, we are going over the Unit 7 review, the study guide. We are starting with this table, kind of just breaking down all the exponent rules that we know. Here is the kind of algebraic or mathematical way to write them, and then we're going to write them in words, and then we're going to see an example. So the first one, we have two numbers that are being multiplied together. Okay, when that happens, you add the exponents. So we will write add the exponents. Okay, and when that happens, we have an example, same base, adding the exponents. 2 plus 6 is 8, so 5 to the 8th. Okay, now we're asking, what does the rule look like when we're multiplying the exponents? That's going to be when you have a power raised to a power. Okay, you can multiply the two things together. We can make an example of this. 7 to the power of 3 raised to the 7th power. Multiply those two things together. 3 times 7, it'll equal 7 to the 21st power. Okay, here we're just given the example, and I see that it's division. So whenever we divide numbers that have exponents, we subtract the exponents. Okay, and the algebraic way of writing that is you would have x to the power of m divided by, I'm going to kind of take up the other box. Okay, that will equal x to the power of m minus n. And notice that it's always top minus bottom. Okay, the next one, we have a negative exponent turning into a fraction. So we can write convert or change to fraction. Okay, and we can make an example of this. For example, 4 to the power of negative 6. Okay, you'll turn that into 1 over 4 to the positive power of 6. And our last rule, something that always equals 1. Well, any number to the power of 0 will always equal 1. So if we had 12 to the power of 0, that would equal 1. Okay, number 1, rewrite each expression using a single positive exponent. That tells me that if I have a negative exponent, I'll have to convert it into a fraction. Okay, we need to show our work on these. So I know that when numbers are dividing, I will subtract their exponents. 2 minus 6 gives me negative 4. Okay, that 8 to the power of negative 4 will change because I need positive exponents to 1 over 8 to the 4th. Okay, when numbers are multiplying, we add. So negative 4 plus 8 will be a positive 4. That will be 8 to the power of 4. When we have power to a power, we multiply. So 2 times negative 2 will give me negative 4. However, that negative 4 will need to be converted into 1 over 8 to the power of 4. Okay, we have D here. What you can do a couple of things. You can think of 1 over 5 to the second power is the same thing as 5 to the negative second power. We're kind of just converting it backwards. And that is raised to the 5th. Negative 2 times 5 equals negative 10. So we'll have 5 to the power of negative 10 turned into a fraction with a positive exponent. Okay, you could also think as 1 as 5 to the power of 0, and then you could have subtracted 0 minus 2 will give you negative 2 times 5. Okay, either way will work. Here we need to deal with what's on top first, so we're going to do 4 plus negative 3. Okay, that's the same thing as just 4 minus 3, so that is 5 to the power of 1 over 5. Anything that doesn't have an exponent is an exponent of 1. 5 over 1 over 5 over 1. Anything over itself is 1. You could also think of 1 minus 1 is 0. 5 to the power of 0, 1. Either way, the answer is 1. Okay, when numbers are dividing, we subtract. So negative 2 minus 8, that will be negative 10. Okay, 5 to the power of negative 10 will be changed into 1 over 5 to the 10th. 4 to the power of negative 4, we just need to convert that into 1 over 4 to the power of positive 4. Okay, here I would suggest just dealing with what's on the inside of the parentheses first and then doing the power. So 2 minus 3 is negative 1, so I have 4 to the power of negative 1 to the power of 4. Okay, that will give me 4 to the power of negative 4, which can be turned into 1 over 4 to the power of 4. And the last one, I don't even have to deal with what's on the inside because it's going to get multiplied by a power of 0. Anything to the power of 0 is 1. Number 2, select all the expressions that equal 4 to the power of negative 8. Remember, that would also be 1 over 4 to the power of 8. So we're looking at one of those two things. Okay, they're the same, just different ways to write it. When numbers are being multiplied, I will add. So 4 plus negative 2, that's the same thing as 4 minus 2. That would be 4 squared. That is not the same. Okay, when power raised to a power, I multiply. Negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. That is equivalent. Up here, I'm going to add first. So 7 plus negative 5, that is 2. And then I'm going to subtract negative 6. Minus negative becomes positive. That will give me a positive power of 8. That is not equivalent. And here I'm going to subtract. So negative 3 minus 5, that will be negative 8. That is 4 to the power of negative 8. That is equivalent. And number 3, same instructions, but now it is 5 to the power of negative 3, also known as 1 over 5 to the power of 3. These two, I would add them together. So negative 1 plus negative 2 does equal negative 3. That would be 5 to the power of negative 3. That's equivalent. These two up here, I'm going to add first. Oops, sorry, I'm going to skip this one. I'm going to subtract. So 2 minus negative 1. Minus negative, they become positive. That is 5 to the power of positive 3. That is not equivalent. Now to number C. These two I'm going to add together. 2 plus 1 equals 3. And then minus 0. Well, this even has just like a different base, and all this whole number is 1. So this is like 5 to the power of 3 over 1. Anything to the power of 0, even if it's a negative number, it is 1. So that is not equivalent because it would just be 5 to the power of 3. And these two here I would multiply. That would give me 5 to the power of negative 3. That is equivalent. All right, I'm going to go ahead and just start a new video for page 2. So check out the next video for page 2 of the study guide.